Hi guys! Here in Maryland, zone 6B, 7A, I seem to qualify for two different zones. Maybe it depends on the year. But anyway, we are in 6B, I guess I'll say. And it is time for me to plant my potatoes. It's probably about 2 weeks early in my zone. But the 10-day forecast is really warm, nothing under the 40s, and I'm going to be planting them up in my polytunnel. I'm going to be doing all my potatoes in containers. Let me show you what I got. I got these. These came from Amazon. It was for I think $16. Just dropped that one. But 4 for $16, and they have drainage holes, and they're reusable, so hopefully I'll get a few years out of them. But they're wonderful 10-gallon bags, and let me show you how they look when they're open. That is how big they are. They're actually the equivalent of a very big pot, and they have this flap here, which is velcroed, where you can take out, you can check on your potatoes first of all, see how they're coming along. And then you can also take your potatoes out if you really want to. You know, it opens up. So that was quite awkward the way I showed you, but maybe I can show you when I'm checking on my potatoes. Hopefully I'll get a nice crop. But for the potatoes, let me show you what I've got here. At Home Depot, I picked up the all blue seed potato. And they just looked really delicious, so I hope that's how they turn out. But those are seed potatoes, and then these are just red potatoes that I've had on a windowsill, and I was just chitting them, letting them get a little sunshine, and where the eyes came out, as you can see, they've made little starts to sprouting. These came out of the box looking like that, so I'm really excited about. Those look pretty promising, the blue potatoes from the seed potato variety that I bought, but these also look very wonderful. So the trick I heard on the internet was, in order to get bigger potatoes, you take off all of the little eyes that are on the potatoes, except for 2 per potato. So 2 or 3. I did 2. Because I want decent sized potatoes, but if you have lots of different eyes coming out of it, you're going to have smaller potatoes. So that was a tip that I heard that I'm going to try, and since this soil is heavy, I'm going to go ahead, take it up, all my supplies here, up to the polytunnel. I already have a little bit of dirt at the top of the hill, and we'll get started planting the potatoes. This is my first time ever growing potatoes. So guys, let me know down below if you have any tips for me after planting about how to get a nice potato crop. Okay, so I'm all set up here, up in the polytunnel. It's a mess. I do have some winter greens growing here. I've got parsley, and I've got arugula, and I have some green onions which need a little water, and I have some spinach. And this is actually a russet potato that I've already planted, and it started sprouting in the refrigerator. So once that sprouts out more, I'm going to keep topping it off with more soil until I reach the top of the container, and just keep covering up the foliage until it reappears again. And that way, hopefully, I'll get a lot of russet potatoes. We'll see. Nothing to see here yet. But over here, let me show you. I've got some winter sowings out here. A couple of little flowers going by seeds. I've got purple salvia happening, and sweet William. And I don't even know if you can see in there, but they're just little sprouts, perennial flowers that are cold hardy. And they've just sprouted because things are just starting to warm up around here. Now, it goes without saying that in Maryland in March, we can get snow or frost still yet, but for 10 days we're going to have a good forecast. And I've got parsnips started under here, and I have yet to see them, but I only planted them a few days ago. So probably next week we'll see a little bit of action for the parsnips. But this is another thing I wanted to show you. I found two beautiful, very sturdy looking rose plants. This one is the Midas Touch Rose. I wanted tea roses for cutting, and these are cutting roses. Cut rose. Here's another cut rose, and that is Mr. Lincoln in red. And honestly, there were some other colors which maybe I would have preferred, but I thought these were nice classics, and the thing that made me choose them was the size of these wonderful trunks. So I feel like this year, once I plant them, they will really do well. But let's go back to the project, and I'll plant my red potatoes and my blue potatoes. So let me show you my supplies. I have a little bit of alfalfa pellets here. I see everybody's using that as a natural fertilizer. And I have 2 bags of soil here, and sometimes my soil choice just depends on what is available in the broken bag section of Lowe's. These are from Lowe's, and Lowe's is wonderful for offering half price or less bags of soil. And soil can be the most expensive part of gardening, outside of the plants, of course. So that is why I chose these. I have a Miracle Grow potting mix for vegetables and flowers, and then I also have a natural and organic raised bed mix. But it's really important that potatoes have a loose and airy mix so that they can create a tuber system. And I think this will be much more preferable to my clay soil, which actually you can see a bit of it even in here. You can see that red soil, guys. That's my Maryland clay soil. So that is one of the reasons I've chosen to plant my potatoes in these nice grow bags. And this is 10 gallons worth. So I think I can probably do 3 potatoes, 3 chitted potatoes per bag, and hopefully get a nice crop. And the nice easy part about growing it in containers is then you can dump it out. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful, but we'll see. We'll see how my potato growing technique goes. But let me go ahead and get them started. I'm going to put about 6 to 8 inches of soil in each bag, a mix of the 2 soils I just showed you. I'm going to put a little bit of the alfalfa in. You don't want to go too heavy on the nitrogen with potatoes, because then you're going to have some very leafy upper growth. But what you really want to be growing are the tubers. So I'm going to just put a little bit of that in to give it a good start, and then probably not fertilize it too heavily. But let me get started. Okay, so I probably did about 8 to 10 inches of soil, and I put in just a few alfalfa pellets, which will be a slow release fertilizer, all organic. And I put the chitted potatoes, and these are the ones from my refrigerator, just straight from the grocery store. I kept them on the windowsill for about 2 weeks, and the little sprouts came out, and I selected the strongest sprouts, but I have just tucked 3 of those in the bag. I'm going to cover it with probably 2 inches of soil and wait for the sprouts to come through, and then I believe you're supposed to keep covering it until it reaches you know, close to the top, and then once that happens, you just let the green part grow. But it gives it a long, nice, a very long root system from which your potato tubers will form. So I'm so excited about this, guys. And it's in the 60s in here during the day, and it probably goes down to the 40s at night, even on a cold night. But potatoes are just fine in the refrigerator, so that should be fine. I don't expect that being in the polytunnel they'll be exposed to any hard frosts from here on out. I think it's going to be a warming trend, and even if we have a cold snap, they should be just fine here in the polytunnel. Hopefully I'm right about this. I'm going to get these covered up. And there we go. I have covered the potato tubers with 2 inches of soil, and I'm going to give it a nice water. This is actually rainwater, and I'll give it a good water because between the moisture and feeling soil, it's going to give that potato a little signal to start growing. There we go. And like I said, little by little, as the green foliage comes up, I'll be covering that up, kind of emulating what you would do when you hill potatoes out in the fields. So that's it, guys. I'm just going to do this 3 more times, and hopefully end of summer, early fall, I'll have a crop of potatoes. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I will keep you posted on how everything's doing. Bye!